In July of 2000, President Clinton invited Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak and PLO Chairman Yasser Arafat to Camp David. The goal was to resolve the major issues that remained after the Oslo talks. The major issues addressed at Camp David were borders, security, sovereignty over Jerusalem and the Old City, and the Palestinian claim of a right of return for all refugees and their descendants. The talks ended with no formal agreement, and the Israeli and Palestinian representatives blaming each other for the failure. On the Palestinian street, though, there was anger and frustration toward the Palestinian Authority, toward Israel, and toward the Oslo process, and it was about to boil over again. After the failed Camp David talks, Arafat organized a new uprising, the Jerusalem Intifada. Palestinians felt betrayed by the Palestinian Authority and disillusioned by an Oslo process that had not delivered a Palestinian state. They also resented Israeli control over their lives and the presence of Jewish settlements in the West Bank and Gaza. In September 2000, Israeli opposition party leader Ariel Sharon visited the Temple Mount with hundreds of security personnel, stating that Israel would never give it up. When Israel went to the polls months later, they voted in Ariel Sharon as their new prime minister. He had a reputation as a hawk on matters of defense and security. The Israelis' choice reflected their disillusionment. The Second Intifada had come directly after Israel had offered the Palestinians shared sovereignty over Jerusalem, along with a state on almost all of the disputed territory. Many Israelis no longer believed that peace with the Palestinians was possible. The Palestinians, for their part, believed that Sharon's election meant that Israel was not interested in peace. For the next 2 years, suicide bombings in Israel increased from 4 in 2000 to 55 in 2002. The attacks by militant wings of Fatah and Hamas killed hundreds of Israeli civilians. In response, the Israeli government began building a security barrier. The security barrier worked. The number of attacks dropped by approximately 50% annually. By 2007, there was only one attack. But the barrier angered Palestinians. It encroached on the pre-1967 line in certain spots, and it cut off some people from their lands and livelihoods. In 2002, the Arab League proposed a peace plan. The Arab League states offered Israel peace and full recognition in return for Israel's withdrawal from all the territories captured in the 1967 war, recognition of a Palestinian state with eastern Jerusalem as its capital, and a just solution for Palestinian refugees. This was a major step forward from the 1967 Khartoum resolution of no peace, no recognition, and no negotiation. Many Israelis doubted the proposal's sincerity because of the continuing Arab violence against them. The Israeli government embraced the proposal, but not all of its demands. A concession came from an unexpected place. Prime Minister Sharon publicly proposed withdrawing all Jewish communities from Gaza. Sharon's plan called for the dismantling of all Jewish communities in Gaza and the removal of their 8,000+ inhabitants. The plan shocked many in Israel and was met with fierce opposition from some. But the plan moved forward, and the last Jewish community was evacuated on August 22, 2005. Many Israelis supported the Gaza withdrawal, hoping it would bring peace and an end to rocket attacks on Israel by Hamas and other allied terrorist groups. This didn't happen. After the withdrawal, Hamas was elected to power in Gaza and ousted by force the Palestinian Authority's Fatah party. The international community used economic sanctions to try to compel Hamas to renounce violence, recognize Israel, and honor previous agreements between Israel and the Palestinian Authority. Hamas refused, and both Israel and Egypt heavily tightened their respective border security, creating a land and sea blockade. Israel maintains that the blockade limits rocket attacks from Gaza and prevents Hamas from obtaining other weapons. The UN and human rights organizations have criticized the blockade. Since Israel's withdrawal from Gaza and Hamas's rise to power there, Israel has fought 3 wars, trying to stop the rocket fire and the smuggling of weapons into the area. Israel faces a similar challenge on its northern border from Hezbollah. Hezbollah has occupied southern Lebanon since Israel's withdrawal in 2000, and it has attacked Israel more than 20 times with cross-border raids and rockets. Conflicts of the sort that Israel has with Hamas and Hezbollah are sometimes called asymmetrical wars because they occur between a state and a non-state actor. The non-state actor, knowing that it can't match Israel's military power, stores weapons in homes, hospitals, places of worship, and schools, and it fires rockets into Israel from areas surrounded by civilians. Any Israeli response to the attacks, no matter how careful, is likely to result in civilian casualties. Israel's responses have resulted in civilian casualties, and this has brought condemnation of Israel in the international community and in the media. Violent opposition to the Israeli-Palestinian peace efforts by some groups did not prevent the talks at Camp David and Taba, as well as the Arab Peace Initiative, from advancing the cause of peace. But every step forward showed how much remained unresolved. If you would like to explore more hot topics, our companion book is available at major online booksellers. You can also support the production of future For Critical Thinkers videos or download complimentary resources for teachers by visiting forcriticalthinkers.com.